Good evening. It's 6:05. I'd like to call the Village Board meeting for the Village of Cary for January 7th, 2025 to order with roll call, please.
Weinhammer.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Walworth. Here. Dudek.
Here.
Collier.
Here.
Kounick.
Here. And at this time, I'd entertain a motion to let Trustee Stefani attend the Village Board meeting remotely due to a work obligation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome, Anthony. And would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. Thank you. We have two. Randy Scott.
Hi, good evening, and Happy New Year to all of you. I'm glad to see your tree still up. I'm not the only crazy one that still keeps the tree up for a while. I wanted to, as you know, I'm running for mayor for the beautiful Village of Cary. Kids make you do, we can all agree kids make you do some crazy things, right? They give me the power to be up here standing before you today. I thought I'd share with you some things. We're going to have some discussion about Maplewood property and some wonderful contractors that want to invest in our town.
Can I ask you one?
Yes,
Are your comments directly related to the Maplewood property?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to hold your comments until after all of the presentations are done.
Okay,
Okay?
very good.
Thank
May I
you.
make one comment that's off topic?
It could be unrelated to what's on the agenda, yes.
As you know, we've had an ongoing sign issue with the Village of Cary, and my concern is that it's becoming politicized.
I'm going to ask you again.
Yes.
That's that's under litigation, and so we are not able to discuss that in the
I'm
public
not
forum.
looking for discussion, as you mentioned before. It's only,
Okay.
yeah,
you
I'm
can
not
just make
looking
a
to get into the
comment.
merits, Mayor. I'm not wanting, recently we received a notice by mail saying that we're still in violation. And we're looking to become compliant so that this issue doesn't become politicized, taking tax dollars. You have my full cooperation to resolve this issue. And I just wanted to let that be known tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Linda Stell.
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Stell, and I live at 269 Stonegate Road, across the street from the old Village Hall. And I'm here tonight to talk about 268 Stonegate Road, which is where all the trees have been cut down, all of them. And I used to serve on this board in the 90s, and if I had known we didn't have a tree preservation ordinance, I would have instituted one. What I'd like to do tonight is ask you to pass a tree preservation ordinance like other communities surrounding us have done. And I have examples of them in my phone if you are interested. But we live right next door to where all the trees have been cut down on a piece of property. We contacted the Village of Cary the moment it started because the foreman of the tree cutting service, I had heard that they were taking down several diseased trees. So I wanted to talk to the foreman to make sure he understood where my property line is. And I said, well, so how many trees are you cutting down? And he said, all of them. And so both my husband and I immediately got on the phone to the Village of Cary to make sure that they weren't violating any ordinances, because I was sure the Village of Cary that I served on would have had a tree preservation ordinance. I'm an old tree hugger. And so I found out, no, there, and yeah, I'm also in the Trout Valley Homeowners Association, which also does not have a tree preservation ordinance. We are in the process of creating one and asking the Homeowners Association of Trout Valley to pass it, which I think after what just happened, is anybody aware of what happened?
No.
No? Okay. They cut down all the trees next door to me. I live in an area, it was a very nicely wooded area. I happen to be preserving, trying to restore my little woodland area. And the tree contractor has started the work before Christmas, but has not, because of the weather or whatever, I just implore you to drive by there, and you won't believe it. You won't believe that this could have happened in the village of Cary, that the Tree City of Cary, that we care so much about. Please drive by there and then consider passing a tree preservation ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. We'll definitely look into it. Thank you very much, Mrs. Stahl. Is there anybody else who would like to address the village board on any matter other than what's on the agenda? Okay, we'll go ahead and close open forum at 6:12. I have a few recognitions today, one of which Steve Kopaz is our public works superintendent. He is unable to be here, so we're going to punt that to our next meeting. But we have two police officers I'd like to recognize. We'll start with David Wilansky. Do you want to come up here? It seems like yesterday we were up here. Congratulations on completing your first year. Come on up here. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Chief and see what he has to say.
Sure. As you've indicated, David's been here a year. He was a squad leader when he was going through his basic law enforcement training at the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy. He's finished his field training within the department. He's been on his own in a solo patrol capacity, and he's assigned to afternoons currently. And I was told he wasn't going to be here because he was on a suspended arrest. So I was going to tell you that he's active. He stays active. So he's been doing a very good job, and he's been here for a year.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. We appreciate your service. Awesome. Thank you very much. Last but not least, we have Jeremy Dutton, who's been with the village of Cary for 5 years. Again, it seems like yesterday.
Yeah, a little longer than him, but.
Congratulations, 5 years. Great. Chief.
As you indicated, Detective Dutton has been here for 5 years. I believe you were attending Suburban Law Enforcement Academy, basic law enforcement during the COVID. So you were interrupted when you were going through your basic law enforcement training. He currently serves as a field training officer within the department. He's served as an officer in charge. He's received training as a breath alcohol operator. He's a drone pilot. He's a member of the Northern Illinois Police Alarm System Emergency Services team. And he's, as I indicated before, just recently assigned to our investigation section as a detective.
Thank you very much. And we have your fellow man in blue supporting you. Thank you very much. Deputy, Sergeant, and all officers, thank you very much for all your support and everything you do. I'm going to keep that for. Thank you. Moving on. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through F as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Collier,
Yes.
Walworth,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Stefani,
Anthony, can we hear you?
He said yes.
He said yes.
yes, Stefani, yes. Dudek,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. We have one item today for discussion purposes only. We have a discussion regarding developer responses to our request for proposals, qualifications related to the redevelopment of the Maplewood property. Before we get started, we have 3 separate proposals before the board this evening. This is informational only. There will be no action taken on any of these. It's for us to have an understanding of what these developers are bringing. The board has had a cursory review already, and we've sent back some things to the developers for some of their feedback. So we're going to refrain from any comments or anything until all 3 of the presentations are done. They have a 30-minute allotment each, and then we will be more than happy to have a discussion with the audience as well as the board on with regards to these things. So, Brian, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. As mentioned, this is regarding the Maplewood request for proposals that the Village of Cary distributed. Brief introduction to how we got to where we're at currently. As the board's aware, and I'm assuming the public is aware as well, the Village of Cary and Cary School District 26 entered into an intergovernmental agreement back in August related to the Maplewood property. That agreement specified specific terms for the relocation of the transportation center, which is currently on that site, to another property within the village, and then certain financial assistance and ways to issue bonds to assist the district with that relocation and also the acquisition of the property. Part of that agreement, the district will continuously use the existing transportation center at the Maplewood site until their new facility is constructed, and then following that, the village will be able to take ownership of the property outright with the intent to market the property for private development. Since we've executed the agreement in September, the village issued a request for proposals and qualifications to the development community seeking input or interest in the site. We were able to discuss the property with over 20 developers that had interest in the site. Various proposals and concepts were discussed. And ultimately, we had 3 developers, teams that did submit proposals that are up for review this evening. Just the timeline for the review process. Again, the RFQ was distributed back in September. Had a couple of months of discussions with the development community. Responses were due in mid to late November. Staff had interviews with the 3 developers that responded to the RFP. And then the next step in the process is the introductions and presentations this evening. Following this evening, the staff will have additional discussions with the village board on potential selection of a preferred developer. And then from there, we would go through negotiate potentially a redevelopment agreement with that selected team for a redevelopment project for the site. And then that would come back to the board for formal approval sometime this year. And then following that, the development would have to go through the village's entitlement process. So it would go through public hearings for zoning modifications and potential discussion, so that the community will also have the opportunity to participate in that process as the project were to go forward. But right now, we're still in the initial stages of the development review process and selecting a potential developer that the village may want to partner with for the site. As mentioned, the purpose of tonight's discussion is really just to introduce the developers to the board and also to the public, and then provide an opportunity this evening for the board to have Q&A and additional feedback with the development teams. The 3 developers are here this evening. We've allotted each of them about a 30-minute block of time to present their team and their project. And then following that, we'll have additional discussion with the board to determine next steps forward. So with that, I'd like to offer up the first developer, unless there are any questions from the board before we begin.
Trustee Stefani, can you hear us okay?
You can hear us fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm the only one that can hear him, though. So.
You're the only one that can hear him?
Possible. You can hear him? Okay. All right. With that, I'll invite Corden Clark and their development team forward. Bruce Cairns will be their primary presenter, and I'll pull up their presentation here as well.
Good evening, and thanks for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here, and Happy New Year. Yeah, we are the Corrigan Clark JTE joint venture team. We do have some slides. We'll go through some images of our site concept, and we'll start off with some introductions first, and then we'll just get right into looking at our site plan and looking at some pretty pictures. I'm going to see if this works.
Yeah, good.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Yeah, awesome. John?
Well, I'll start out by introducing myself. I'm John Cordigan, Principal Architect of Cordigan Clark, a partner in the JT Development Corporation. We are very pleased to be here. We think the project is a fabulous opportunity both for our development team, but also as well as the Village of Cary. Seems like increasing the population and getting the density higher in the village and helping downtown grow as it is becoming quite vibrant is a really positive thing. Also, the idea that there's a project that sits next to the railroad station and allows people to commute effectively to jobs outside of Cary and back, both creates sort of the new image of the working person, young adults finding economical places to live and be able to work in the best places in the Chicago metro area is super positive. And we think it's got sustainability written all over it, as well as a great opportunity to make Cary a better place. And we thank you for letting us be here to present our.
Hello, this is Viral. I am with Corrigan Clark and Associates. I'm the architect on the team.
Good evening, Mike Renner, a licensed professional civil engineer in the state of Illinois, and I'm principal with Erickson Engineering.
Michael Poulikides, managing partner of JTE Real Estate Services, joint venture with Corrigan Clark. We've are in the process of developing several properties. Our pride and joy right now is it's a redeveloped old hospital, 250,000 square feet of redeveloped space converted into senior living. We're also redeveloping a corner in Chicago, Illinois, for TOD. And so very excited to be here. Have over 500 units under property management, experience in the development area, and more than excited than have the opportunity to bring this project to fruition.
And I'm Bruce Cairns. I'm an architect and the director of design for the master plan and the buildings on the site. So we'll just jump right into it. A few weeks ago, we met with Brian and Eric and Dan, and we talked about this concept, this option, and they brought up a lot of good ideas and some options to what we had. So we took some of these ideas back to the studio, back in our office, and so we came up with another option. So we actually are showing two options here. I'll go through what we presented initially, option one, and then we can talk a little bit about option two, about some of the things that we added to it, and then some of the other highlights. To the core of the site, in the center, we have 5-story apartment blocks in the center, and it's oriented a little bit. It's closer to the metro tracks and closer to Northwest Highway. It's a little bit busier of a road, so a little bit more conducive. A type of building near a busier type of road. And so we surrounded these 5-story apartments with 3-story townhomes. And these townhomes become somewhat of a buffer or a transition between the higher density 5-story apartment buildings and the surrounding residential area. We added a ring road that connects the new access roadway that's at the north that runs along the metro tracks. We added a ring road that connects all the buildings and all the units, the townhomes and the apartments, and we tried to keep and the access points. We tried to keep the access points off of the main access road. You know, again, that's a busier area, and but we do show a connection on Prairie Street. So Prairie Street that could be an option, you know, whether or not we have one there. I think the development could work without a connection to Prairie, but we were just showing that in this particular option. We want to keep the residential characteristics of the existing area, you know, so we want to have a road, you know, if we're introducing a new street around here, we want to treat it like it's like a typical residential area where, in essence, the front door is facing the street. So that's what we show in our proposed drive that walks around. So that's kind of the core of what we had with the option one. We did have a parking ratio for the apartments of 2 parking spaces per each unit, which is a high number, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have that number. So we were showing that. So it is a lot of surface parking spaces located on here. And we were showing covered parking on the large apartment blocks. They have 40 to 50 covered parking spaces in each one of those buildings. So one of the parking space was covered and one was surface parking. That's where the 2 to 1 comes in.
Is it coming off yours? Yeah, change.
It's gonna work. Wait till we get to the fly-through, it's gonna be a disaster.
I hope not.
No, I'm kidding.
It's your computer?
You can run the buttons out, that's all right, Brian.
And probably option.
Yep.
So option 2, really the main thing that we did with option 2 is that we changed the parking ratio. We changed it from 2 to 1 to 1.5 parking space per unit. And so that reduced a significant amount of parking spaces, surface parking spaces. And you know, we have Erickson Engineering has a traffic engineer, and they did do a report, and they do talk about parking ratios being closer to 1.3 and 1.4. So that's a typical industry standard, even that type of ratio. So we're even above that. But what it really did, it opened up this site quite significantly to add more green space. And you know, we're able to add outdoor amenities such as an outdoor pool, and we have we're showing a dog park, and there could be outdoor workspaces and just more green space. And it also opened up more stormwater detention on the northwest corner of the site, which is probably going to be needed. One of the other things we did when we had our discussion with the staff, we flipped the western edge townhomes, and so we were able to eliminate one of the driveways. So again, that opens up and gives a lot more green space to the edge, to that western edge of the site.
It also puts the front doors facing the single-family residence and sort of creates a better buffer.
And all the front doors of the townhomes face these roads, and we have most of the surface parking is internalized. So part of these amenities are also connecting, or some of these outdoor amenities are also connecting to indoor amenities. So we are showing in this main apartment building, which is the elbow-shaped apartment block, showing some of the potential amenities that could be on the interior. So you know, things like management offices and fitness center, entertainment kitchen. You know, there could be a lot of different types of things involved with it. We also there was talk about that outside corner of this larger building, and enhancing that corner to making it more iconic. And so we added a tower to the outside corner of the building, and so we can see that in some of the images as we flip through. So this is option 2. And it's kind of hard to see, but on the western edge, you can see how we flip the townhomes. You can see the outdoor pool in this image. We have electrical vehicle charging stations. You know, at each building, apartment building. You can see this in the foreground. There's just a lot more green space, I think, and this is the option 2. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the option 2 here. Sorry. It would be either one. Correct. Yeah. You know, option 2 I think is just an enhancement of option 1 for the most part. I mean, it's just really making it better, probably. Doesn't change, I think, our basic concepts. And, you know, townhomes, I mean, these could be, colors could be different things, you know, but I think in essence we're thinking, you know, it'd be brick is a common use material and some cement board siding potentially, so low maintenance type of siding. Just more detail. And this is, I was talking about the scale of having the taller buildings centered on the site. This is a view from the playground that's in the southwest corner of the site. And you're seeing that the townhomes they look almost to be the same height as the 5-story apartment buildings, you know, in the background. So that scale is very effective in this image. And this is showing some of the outdoor amenities. And here's the corner. This would be the main entrance into this building, potentially.
The tower feature there that has been created.
And the tower, I mean, obviously it would be seen here. You know, it becomes a signifier of entrance. You know, when you're approaching the building, and I think you can see this from a distance. So if you're driving down Northwest Highway or on the Metro line, you should be able to see this tower. It could be an icon, a Cary icon in the future. This should be the video. I'm not gonna, oh, okay, I was gonna say it's got music, but I wasn't gonna press it. Force it. Concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to open up to board comments, or do you want to go right into the next one?
Any board comments would be fine for this one.
Any comments about this? The changes, potential additional changes?
Yeah,
Questions?
or?
I just had a quick question. So some of them are 3-bedroom. Would 3-bedroom units have 2 parking spaces versus somebody who's a 1-bedroom? Would they just get, a 1-bedroom or a 1 parking space?
That
or-
may be determined, as the development would be further progressed. There could be various options with it, I think, yeah.
But each unit would have one designated indoor spot, no matter what, and then the rest is
Yes.
kind of like
Yes,
overflow.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that was your, I'm sorry.
I think
That was your
that's maybe what you were
question.
looking
Yeah,
for.
thank you.
There's 1.5 units per, 1.5 parking spaces per unit, and some units are 1-bedroom units, some are 2 bedrooms, some are 3 bedrooms, and obviously, a single person living in a 1-bedroom apartment wouldn't need 2 parking spaces, or, some families with three bedrooms only need a single car if they're commuting, so on and so forth. But in general, you've got the number of total units, 1.5 cars per space, and very close to a covered space for each unit in the development, especially in the townhomes.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay.
And which entity will be the operator, will be the management company on site? Okay, and your current portfolio in Illinois consists of?
We have well over 500 units. This would be the biggest ground-up residence. Currently, we're under development for 88 units in Rogers Park. We have 140 units in Aurora. Several buildings of 20-plus units. 10 and up, so over 500, including the 140 units in Aurora, and then currently the 88 unit in Rogers Park.
Thank you.
As far as the access, as you show into the existing neighborhood, you have one right now. Is there opposition to having none and using the new road only?
Not at all. Not at all. Right? We really want the community to help us define the final product, right? And we feel like, being that this is a TOD, that limiting that doesn't present a problem, doesn't present any marketing challenges whatsoever. And that's why I think Bruce had mentioned that, closing that off is definitely in the realm of possibilities.
Thank you.
Just for everybody's reference, when he's referring to TOD, that's transit-oriented development. That's a very large thing within our federal government and our state government, pressing municipalities to look seriously at TODs.
I apologize.
No worries. I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about.
Hey, yes, one more question.
Sure.
To Brian. Can we go back over quickly or at the end of this of where we stand with the access road and what the progress is on that?
Certainly can.
Thank you.
Trustee Dudek? And can I ask you guys got to speak into your microphones, please? Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to do that.
I know you. Then they're back like this, and then he's
I'm just
like,
taking it all in.
I got to get you the lapel one that I wear sometimes.
Thank you. So I have some questions. I don't know if they're applicable to each individual because I want to ask the same group the same question. It seems like that maybe should be at the end. But as I look at this, I do have a question for you guys. On the townhome units, how many, is it 6 or 8 per building? How many are you planning?
I think it was seven.
They're 3-story buildings.
But they're, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
One of them was different than the others.
Okay. And was my math right? Did you have 50 townhomes in total and 160 rentals? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'll save my other questions till later.
Okay. Brian and we've had conversations with other smaller developers about various concerns, that marketing that they're looking at. What are your thoughts on studio-based apartments, integrating a studio-based apartment into this type of development?
I personally think that they would lease well, considering the fact that, again, that it's the transit-oriented development, right? And nowadays, what you're seeing is with the ever-rising price per square foot to rent, people are taking advantage of living in smaller spaces, right? Even to the point where sometimes you hear of, or you're hearing more and more of micro units, right? Now, obviously, we're not considering that here, but I think people who would in the past more typically have gone into a one-bedroom are willing to take a studio in an area such as this that has a vibrant downtown where they can live close to amenities and close to the railroad, right? So they can get downtown easy. So it would be a balance for them. We feel as though some of those people won't even have a car, right? They would have their bike and they would bicycle to places and they'd be able to take the train to get to where they needed to go for work if it was outside of Cary. So we're more than willing to consider studios. Again, I think it needs to be navigated with the village and know that we do know that they would lease well.
Yeah, we were in the conversations that we've had, not related to this at all, but there is a need for studios in our region. Correct, Brian?
To that effect, the one-bedroom apartments, do you have a square footage for those as of yet, or?
I think we have a range of probably 550 to 650, but again, it is trending to smaller living space because of the rising escalation of rents and then more amenity space, right? Like of what this will offer, right? The common area space, the pool, the outdoor space, the access to the downtown area, the access to the train to get to other areas, right? So, and again, we really wanted to navigate in collaboration with the village and with community too. So we don't want to say we demand 550 square feet when the village is saying, well, what about closer to 600 or 650 square feet? We'll make it work. It's just a matter of putting pen to paper and getting the economics down.
Okay, thank you.
Couple quick comments. Just a quick question, just for public sake. These are all going to be fair market rental.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I think it's important to everyone to know that.
Yeah, and I think that's also, not to interrupt, but that's also where the studios can come into play because it's market rate affordable, right? You're taking somebody who can't afford a one-bedroom now and is willing to take that studio, live in a little bit less of her space, but they have the amenities.
Right. And I just wanted to comment that I appreciate the option 2. Some of those changes you guys came back and reworked, and I think that you really enhanced what we were looking for because I know that as we've talked, we felt that it was important that there was some indoor parking. And then we also felt that those amenities were really important to have: the outside playground, the dog park, the exercise area. I do think that you see that trend all over the place. I know my son is downtown, and that's a small unit, but they've got everything. They've got the workspace because people are working from home. They want to have those type of things. So I just wanted to comment that I appreciated the changes that you made.
I'd like to put a plug in for ourselves there. We are a design-oriented development team, and that is what we specialize in developing design concepts that work for the community.
Anything else? Brian?
No, I think if there's no more questions from the board, we can move on to next developer.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you very much for your interest in Cary. Appreciate it.
Are you guys going to stick around then?
No, we're gonna stay out. They asked us to leave.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then the next one's come in.
The next one's come
Got
in.
it. Well, then, can I have a couple minutes? I'm sorry, I didn't know that was how you were going to. My apologies. First question you already answered. I think your comment about partnering with the community is strong, but I have a question for you. We've always kind of viewed this as a neighborhood within a neighborhood. So as this evolves, how willing are you to work with not only the board, but with community itself on hearing from them things that they may like or don't like about what your project looks like?
We've done a lot of focus groups inside communities. Every project that we've worked in has had focus groups that we've participated in. And obviously you cannot allow the project to be designed by committee, but you hear the voices. We come back and we talk to the community about what we heard and demonstrate that we had heard it. If we decide that something doesn't work, we explain why we don't feel it works. But you have a voice in that process, and it's a design process that we enjoy and are good at doing.
Okay, thank you for that. All of the developers' plans that we've seen, you have kind of, and I don't mean you, I mean generically you, have a hard stop where the property meets the metro line. There is some potential down the road that some of the property at the west side of the metro lot could be developed for something else. It could be open space, it could be additional part of Maplewood at some point. Would your team be willing to work with Brian and our team to create sort of a plan 1A to suggest that where you have in your plan, you have that existing parking kind of squared out, but that triangle over there, part of it potentially could be added to this, or at a minimum, could be open space that the village has that's the buffer between Maplewood and the entry to downtown. So just conceptually, I'm throwing that out there to make, instead of a real hard, fast transition, maybe something that would be a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then my last question is,
Well, yeah, and he mentioned it, the building. But, yeah, we didn't elaborate on, like, a design of that transition, but definitely.
okay.
Definitely a potential there.
Just the last question is, recently we had a residential development presentation off of 31 done. Have you guys had the opportunity to view that presentation? Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Nothing else from the board? Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a short pause. We do have some technical issues with our audio video here that we're going to
Thank you. Appreciate it.
attempt to resolve. And for the public that are watching on the live stream, we will have the presentations that are all shown by each of the development teams on our website as well. So we won't miss out on seeing the options that were presented here today, especially with the first proposal here.
So you want to pause for 5 minutes? Okay. I got Spotify. Is Anthony still there?
No. Again?
How many people are on? Okay. I'm gonna go ask him how many people are actually watching.
All right. We appreciate everyone's patience. We're about to get restarted. We do have some of the technical issues still ongoing. Just for the benefit of the public watching on the live stream, because of these issues, you still will be able to hear the audio, but we will, like I mentioned before, we will post the presentations from each developer on our website, and then when we post the recording of the meeting, we will also try to integrate those slides at that time. So you will hear the audio, but if you'd like to see the exhibits, that will be posted on our website after the meeting.
Thank you. Took that off my plate. Brian, we'll turn it over to developer number 2.
Thank you, Mayor. Village Board. Next developer is from the Lindmark Group. Brad Friedman will be presenting on their behalf, and they do have other members of their development team here as well. Again, we'll provide another 30-minute block starting here at 6:53 for them to go through a presentation, and then there's opportunity for questions from the board as well. And hopefully the technical issues will work out better this time through. So.
Hello, good evening. Thanks for having me out. My name is Brad Friedman. I'm the Director of Midwest Operations for the Lindmark Group. I have with me my architect, Mike from Fitzgerald, and then my civil engineer, Mike from Erickson, who you all know. The Lindmark Group is a multi-generational family real estate development enterprise that was founded over 65 years ago. We've developed and constructed more than $1.3 billion in real estate projects in 19 states and internationally. We've done projects multifamily, hospitality, retail, and office. The picture that you see at the bottom here is the Wheeling Town Center. It was a 120 mixed-use development project in Wheeling that we completed in 2019. Dan Gardner showed me a number of sites that were available in Cary. I told him that I was holding out for the Maplewood School property. It was by far my favorite. I thought it had the most potential. I'm really glad to see that you worked out a deal with the school district and that it's now in a TIF, and I think that there's a lot of potential to see what we can do with this site. I see it as a really nice luxury multifamily development opportunity. I know some people wanted to see some retail incorporated, but the reality is it's fronting one street, and that's Krenz, and that's not really appropriate for commercial or retail use. It's a great site, though. You got 15 acres. You're right next to the train station, walkable to downtown. That's one of the key things that I look for when I look at development sites and opportunities. What we have designed is essentially 2 apartment buildings that are connected by a common area amenity clubhouse that would also lead out to a really nice outdoor courtyard amenity space as well, with a pool and a fire pit and all that fun stuff. We've got about 418 parking spaces, provides a ratio of about 1.45, and then we have about 44 townhomes. We have made some slight changes to the plan based on what was originally proposed, based on feedback that we received from village staff. We took some of the townhomes on Krenz Avenue and we rotated them 90 degrees, so they are now perpendicular with Krenz and serve as a little bit more of a barrier for those homes on Krenz to be looking into the development to break up the density that is further back by the tracks. We have the community park at the corner of Krenz and school there. And then we also made a slight change to the Maplewood roadway that runs parallel with the tracks. We understand that village staff has been working diligently to try and get some grant money for that Maplewood roadway improvement project, and we want to make sure that our design comports with what has already been done to make the process very easy. We did update some of the renderings ever so slightly. We put a little bit more detail into them. During the RFP process, everyone was kind of under the gun, including the architects, but we were able to provide a little bit more detail with regards to the townhomes and the apartment building, and that level of detail is now shown here. We also did get some feedback that a lot of people wanted to see some covered parking options, so we are showing a covered carport as part of the open surface parking lot area there. There were some additional renderings that were provided. This is showing you what the project would look like if you're standing at the corner of Krenz and School with that open public park with the townhomes flanking the park, and then you see in the background that's where you see the 5-story apartment buildings that bring a little bit more density. They also provided a rendering of what the outdoor courtyard could look like. You see the pool, we're going to have a fire pit, we'll have lounge seating, we'll have pergolas, we'll have grill stations, and then you can see in the background there's that middle building that connects the two apartment buildings. That would be all of the indoor amenities. Here's another view of the apartment building. It is our intent that every unit would have a protruding balcony, and then the units on the ground floor would have ground level patios with privacy. And then here's another shot showing what the property would look like from Krenz and Prairie to give you a local perspective. We also got some feedback that you wanted some additional detail with regards to the townhomes. This is a project that Fitzgerald designed for Hawthorne Woods with multiple townhomes. And a typical floor plan, which includes the garage and multi-purpose room on the ground level. The main living area is on the second level. That's where you see the family room, the living room, the kitchen. And then on the third floor, it could be a 2 or a 3 bedroom layout with the bathrooms and the laundry and the closet space. We were also told that you wanted to see a typical floor plan for the apartment building. So these are typical floor plans for one Wheeling Town Center. On the left is the 1 bedroom with the open floor plan layout. And then on the right is the 2 bedroom. And the layout that we have here actually works really well. We get a lot of compliments on this unit because you essentially have 2 master bedrooms. They each have their own private walk-in closet, their own private bathroom, and so it works really well. Up here we have the unit mix. This is really the unit mix for the 2 5-story apartment buildings. We currently have 288 units. We've got 20% studios, 40% 1 bedrooms, and 40% 2 bedrooms. It's pretty identical to the unit mix that we have at 1 Wheeling, which does extremely well. We have a little bit more studios in this unit mix. What we found is that the studios are the first ones to go. People want to get into the building. They want to be in at that lowest price point possible. They want to enjoy all the amenities, and this gives them an opportunity to get in there. The 1 bedrooms are the next to go, and then the 2 bedrooms are usually last to fill up, but once they do fill up and once the building is stabilized, The people who live in the 2 bedrooms are the ones that stay there the longest. And then I do know that there was some pushback on the total number of units. And I heard that you might want to see the total number of units go down. We haven't made any changes to the unit count as of today. Obviously, everything is an open discussion as we go through that final PUD process once you choose a developer of record. I really think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the traffic and the parking and what this site is appropriate for and what it can handle and what it can manage. The one thing that I do want to bring up is that the more units you have, the stronger your amenity package is going to be. And that's what sets us apart from the other buildings, is the amenity package. I'm going to show you a number of pictures from One Wheeling Town Center, talk about all the amenities that we have there, because that's what we plan to replicate here. The same quality of construction and the same level of the luxury amenity package. So I did get a preliminary letter of opinion from our traffic and parking consultant. And basically what he found is that all of the multifamily buildings, communities that are in this suburban market have a demand of around 1.3 to 1.4. What we're showing is a parking ratio of 1.45. At the end of the day, we're going to have to do a full-blown traffic and parking study, and the village is going to hire their own traffic and parking engineer, and we're going to collectively sit down and we're going to figure out what is the appropriate demand, what is the appropriate parking ratio, and we'll find a way to make it work. So let's talk about the amenities. So we want to do a full-blown amenity package here. And as I said, the more units you have, the stronger your amenity package can be. We're going to have a full staff on-site management, on-site leasing team, and maintenance engineers on-site every day. That's what we have at One Wheeling Town Center. We'll have a nice lobby with complimentary coffee, lounge seating. We'll have a great club room with a private party room that can be rented out. A fitness room, an open studio space that can be used for yoga classes, kickboxing, dance classes, you name it. It's a really nice multi-purpose space that I'll show you later in this presentation. We're also going to have a conference room, open workstations. We'll have a huge package room, dog washing stations. Our package room, by the way, at the Wheeling Town Center has refrigerators, so people who get grocery deliveries are able to keep their groceries cool. And then the courtyard, we'll have the pool, the fire pit, the lounge chairs, the grill stations, the outdoor dining and the patio seating, and maybe some leisurely activities as well. I was told that you wanted to learn a little bit more about other properties in the Lindmark Gold Aller portfolio besides One Wheeling Town Center. Here are 2 additional properties that are in the portfolio. One of them is DuPont Meadows in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 250 single-family homes with an average rent of around $1,800 a month. Occupancy is 95%. And then the other project in Indianapolis, which is Lighthouse Landings with 336 units. It has an amenity package. Average rent there is about $1,300 a month. Occupancy is 96%. And these are just the buildings that are in the Midwest. The Lindmark Group has a very large portfolio of other income-producing assets that are basically on the East Coast. So talking about the timeline, we're hoping that the village will be able to select a developer of record in the first quarter here. That would give us an opportunity to then start coordinating on the concept plan and the roadway improvements, at which time we can really start working on the redevelopment agreement. We can start doing those third-party reports, getting additional information on the soils, the infrastructure, all those roadway improvements to have that finalized so we can get final PUD approval hopefully by the third quarter of this year. We would then be able to finalize our construction drawings by the fourth quarter of 2025, and then that would give us an opportunity to close on our financing and break ground first quarter of next year. We're looking at about an 18-month construction schedule that would put us at the third quarter of 2027 for grand opening. So talking about the Linmark Group, what distinguishes us from other developers? The key factor is that we are long-term holders, looking for steady cash-on-cash returns. We are not merchant developers. I have worked for merchant developers in the past, and the way that they approach projects is very differently. It's all about getting your project, stabilizing it, and then selling it, making your profit, and moving on to the next project. That's not who we are. When we developed the Wheeling Town Center, I started working on that project in 2015. It is now 2025. I am still at the Wheeling Town Center every day. We are very much hands-on, long-term holders. The Wheeling Town Center is doing phenomenal, 96% occupied. The level of construction and the materials that we chose goes to show that we are long-term holders. We think about everything in terms of the maintenance, the ongoing cost, and the insurance premiums of any project that we put together. So choosing high-quality materials goes a long way. We have a really good 4.5-star Google rating. The only people that are not happy on Google are the people that come in and are not happy that we're not offering any concessions. But the demand is there. People want to live in this building. It's a luxury building, and the people who live there are living there by choice. It's a mature renter. It's not that they're living there because they can't afford to buy their own single-family home. They're choosing to live there by choice. They want that lifestyle. They want those amenities. This is a LEED certified building, Energy Star certified. We have solar rooftop panels covering the entire rooftop of the building. My partner, Josh Goldstein, he's the president of the Linmark Group. He formed his own solar rooftop company, and he is now putting solar rooftop panels on every asset that he owns in his portfolio. It's really impressive. And we also do wonderful community events regularly. We have coffee and donuts in the morning. We do wine and cheese at night. We do family-friendly events on the weekends with kids' activities. We do certain events where we cater to tenants who have dogs. We'll do summertime parties in the courtyard, in the pool, with live music, and then we'll bring in catering. It's nonstop resident events, and people who live in the building really love it. I'm going to go through and show you a lot of photos from One Wheeling, and the materials and the amenities and the finishes that you see in these photos. This is what we plan to build here in Cary. This is the front entrance right off of the plaza. This is the lobby area that you walk in. There's a doorman, security, coffee station, places where people could sit down and work. This is our club room area. You see the pool table, the TVs, the high tops, the couches, and then here is a two-way fireplace that leads into the private party room, and you could see those sliding barn doors. So if you want to rent that room out for a private party and you want some privacy, you just close those sliding barn doors. And people have all sorts of different parties there. Whether it's for the little kids or, you know, older young adults or empty nesters. It gets used quite a lot. And it leads right out into our courtyard as well. This is the kitchen and the private party room. We also have a game room here that gets a lot of use. Here's our conference room, which, by the way, on Friday nights gets used for poker. A lot of guys come and hang out and order pizza and beer. That's actually something that I never thought about, but it's a nice, nice way to put the conference room to use on a weekend night. We have a fitness facility with your basic fitness equipment. This is the yoga studio that I was telling you about. Not a lot of places have this, but it's really nice to have that open space so you could do the yoga, the kickboxing, the dance classes. It's a really nice additional feature that the residents enjoy. Here's one of the shots from the units. We actually have two different unit styles. We have a light finish and then a dark finish. And when you have a lot of units, you have the ability to do that. And it's great because everybody has an opinion whether they want the light unit or the dark unit. Here's the dark unit with the darker cabinets, a little bit different of a backsplash. And then all of our bathrooms come equipped with this backlit mirror that everybody loves. Here's a view of the courtyard showing the pool and the fire pit. Here's another view of the courtyard showing the area where we do bocce, cornhole, and then you could see the pergola covered dining. The grills are off in the back, and then we also have a covered kitchen out there that gets a lot of use. People walk into the courtyard and they say that they feel like they're on vacation. I really think everybody here should come visit the Wheeling Town Center. I'm there almost every day. I will personally give you a tour and I will answer any questions. You can really tell the quality of construction when you see our projects firsthand. And this is the main entrance off of the plaza. By the way, the Wheeling Town Center has a lot of commercial aspects to it. It's right off of Dundee, so it called for a lot of commercial. And we built this plaza, and we now host events in the plaza. We do Tuesday night markets. We do Thursday nights live. We do fundraisers. We work with the local groups. I'm a member of the Wheeling Chamber. We are in it for the long haul. We did put together a video, flyby video. Brian, you can start that now. And while that is playing in the background, if you guys want to jump into the Q&A, I know we're kind of tight on time and you have a third group that wants to present, so
don't worry about it. We'll accommodate everybody here, so no worries.
That was just a teaser. So Mike and his team had the ability to put together this flyby video in the past couple of weeks, and I think it does a really good job of showing you the townhomes and how they serve as a really good buffer to that existing residential neighborhood and the homes across the street. And then as you get further back into the development, that's where we start to introduce the larger density 5-story apartment buildings. And our site plan has like this roadway track that kind of goes all the way around the property, provides good circulation. Again, at the end of the day, there's going to have to be a traffic and a parking study done. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of changes that are made to the site plan to accommodate everybody's requests. That's just part of the process. I'm used to it. I think at the end of the day, it's a great site. You have a lot of land, and we will find a way to make this project work. I will say the Lindmark Group has a great reputation for getting projects done. They have the financial wherewithal. I provided some really good letters of reference. I hope you all had an opportunity to read up on those. One of them came from our loan underwriter, Paul Matuziak at Berkadia, who mentioned that when we closed on our construction loan for the Wheeling Town Center, it was the largest 221 D4 loan that was ever closed at the Chicago HUD office. Provided reference letters from John Malanaphy, one of the most well-respected directors of economic development in the area. And also a trustee, Joe Vito, who I served as a board member with on the Wheeling Chamber, and knows how much time and energy we've put into the project. And he sees that I'm still around and that we are doing everything we can to make that project successful and work with the community. We are not merchant developers. We are long-term holders, and we would like to be a part of Cary.
Thank you. Why don't we open up for some questions? Let's start on this side.
I have one question, and it's regarding parking. Is there any possibility that there could be any in-ground parking, somewhere where there's a parking garage of some type is there any way to incorporate that in here?
Yes, of course there's a possibility. This design really, obviously the townhomes have their own,
Right.
garage parking. The apartment building is currently designed with all surface parking.
Right.
And the feedback that we got was that, there might want to be some covered parking. We have a garage at the One Wheeling property. We also have a lot of surface parking, which is really meant for retail. And it's interesting, there's a lot of residents who prefer the outdoor parking because it's more convenient. Gives them an opportunity to park closer to where they live. It gives them easier access for when they're getting their groceries in and out. When you do a parking garage, there's pros and cons. The efficiency of the building goes down. You have a lot of additional hallway space. The parking garage does get quite dirty, on a regular basis. So we can certainly look into other alternatives that would provide some indoor parking. But what we have seen based on recent studies is that the parking garages don't necessarily equate to higher rents. And not everybody really wants that indoor parking space. They really just want the convenience of being able to park and access their unit. And so what we did here, the first plan that Fitzgerald put together was a little bit different, and we kind of switched the rotation of the buildings to allow for more circular parking. So depending on which tower you're living in and where your unit is, you would park at that location that would give you easy access to your unit and to your entry point. So,
And I respect that where you're coming from. I just think we're in the Midwest, and I still think that, especially if you're getting a little bit up in age, if there's anyone that's going to move in there, that they want that covered parking, the indoor parking, not just covered. Just my humble opinion. What about storage? And I didn't even ask this for the other one. Do you have storage for?
We do. We have storage. We have about 150 units of storage. The demand for the storage actually is not as high as you would think. But there's always interior corridors, elbows, where you can't have a residential unit. So it's either an electrical closet or a storage closet. Okay. So we always make use of every nook and cranny, and every little detail is thought through. It's a good question, though. We will have storage units.
Well, I appreciate your presentation, the quality of work, and your reputation. So thank you so much for bringing this to us.
Thank you.
I know you answered all my questions. Thank you.
Wow. Okay.
Let it rip.
And I'm asking the same three questions to everybody, so don't feel I'm picking on you by any means. The board and our comprehensive plan look at Maplewood as sort of a neighborhood within a neighborhood. So how willing are you to work with the neighborhood to, make changes, move things around, look at different options as this moves forward if you're selected?
Yeah, and like I said during the presentation, I fully expect this site plan to go through changes. Once you collectively decide who you want to work with, who you think is the most qualified, I think there are going to be a number of meetings. There should be a number of meetings with village staff, with trustees, with the fire department, and I'm sure there's going to be neighborhood groups that come out and make suggestions and make comments. And it is our job to take all of that into consideration and make adjustments to the plan to accommodate everybody to make this project work.
Okay, thank you for that. Then on the east side, this is a good slide to have up. It shows it pretty clearly. On the east side of the development, in all three plans that we're reviewing, is sort of a hard transition between the development site and the parking lot, the Maple, or the Metro parking lot. There is some possibility that some of that parking in that corner could be relocated to the east side of the Metro property that Metro has, and move spaces down there. So there's possibility of having some sort of a transitional piece in that corner. Could be additional open space, could be a community park, what have you, to kind of ease the transition from Maplewood into our core business district. So would you be open to creating sort of a Plan 1A that might show your vision for some level of transitional space as you move from the residential community into downtown?
Yeah.
As opposed to just a hard
Yeah,
stop.
absolutely. We actually did something very similar at the Wheeling Town Center. When the RFP came out, it was for a former Wix property, but then next to it was existing Metro commuter parking. And we were like, well, why don't we incorporate the Metro commuter parking into our plan, and then it could be shared parking. It worked really well over there because we had a movie theater, which is nights and weekends, and Metro parking is, during the day. So we've actually entered into tri-party agreements with Metro and the municipality. We've got experience doing that. I still have some good relationships with the folks over at Metro. So I'm totally open to changing the landscaping, looking at alternative versions that are going to work for the longevity of this project.
Right, okay, thanks. And then last question is, we, the board, had a presentation several weeks ago for residential development out on 31. I'm asking if you've had an opportunity to see that.
Yes, Mike Renner actually informed me about it. I read about it. I saw the photos. I think it's a wonderful project that they're putting together. But I am going to tell you, I'm not going to be building pickleball courts here. As much as I love pickleball, I'm an avid pickleball player. I don't think it's appropriate for this site.
No, I asked the question simply because I think the board reacted pretty favorably to the presentation. And it helps you all when you're sitting down in front of us to see what others have done. So that's the reason for the question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I guess I'll take my turn. The perimeter buildings, the townhouse builds, are those just for rent, or are you looking to sell those, owner occupied?
So that is really going to be based on market conditions. What we originally proposed was, looking to sell those as buildable lots for townhomes. The reality is the Lindmark Group would prefer to maintain ownership and have those as rentals. But we're certainly open to looking into a for-sale townhome product. And at the end of the day, they would be part of the association because they would still have access to the amenities. And I actually had my realtor, Paula Gagerman from At Properties, pull up some comps, and so I was able to look at townhomes, townhome sales, and I saw a lot of new construction townhomes that have recently sold for around $450,000. This is actually a better site, and the other townhomes that sold did not offer the amenities that we plan to have here. So I think that would actually be a higher price point. But we're open to either situation.
Okay. And I do want to reiterate to what Trustee McAlpine said about the need for inside parking. I've heard that time and time again. And I think that is something that's important to the community. We're in the Midwest. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but everybody I sat in the meetings with the trustees, and first thing that they said is they want first floor I know we understand underground parking is cost prohibitive. We get that.
Well, it doesn't have to be underground parking.
Yeah, just the first floor.
There's other ways that we can incorporate some, indoor covered parking, a parking garage component to this, to this project.
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you. Are we sticking around for the end? No. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night. He's not. You can watch it on YouTube. Good night.
And we'll just have a short break while we reboot for the next presenter. So just one moment, please.
Hello, welcome to the Village of Cary again.
Again, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. We can go ahead and jump right in. My name's Kevin McKaylee, and I'm here to present our proposed development for the Maplewood School site. It's 284 luxury rental units. I'm going to first start by introducing my design team, my business partners, and the development team. I'm going to first start with Vince Ramos of VDR Group.
Good evening, guys. My name is Vince Ramos. I'm the principal of VDR Development Group. We are a vertically integrated general contracting company. We have developed over 1 million square feet of real estate in 15 states across the country. Also, in addition to VDR, I do have 2 other companies that would be very beneficial as well for this project. I also have Glendale Supply, which is a material supply company, and it allows me to control costs on developments and builds as well. We supply windows, cabinets, doors, and doors, and millwork and trim. I also have another company, Elite One Service, which is a property management company that is property managing and doing maintenance in 15 states as well, currently too. Now I'll turn it over to Mike McKinnon.
Hey guys, I'm Mike McKinnon. I work with Leslie Development on several developments across the country. You might remember I was here about 5 or 6 years ago. I developed the Thorntons over at Janus Cutoff Road. I still own that property here in town. With Alessio, we've developed several large-scale developments like this. A 15-acre mixed-use development down in Fort Myers, Florida, which included 300 multifamily unit townhomes and condos. Alessio Trade Center was a 159-acre development. That included 240,000 square feet of industrial and 360 units of multifamily that we developed with Kittle and 400 additional housing units. Here locally, we did a 224-unit development in Willow Springs, which was a townhome and apartment complex. I manage a family office that has about a $500 million worth of loans. And I do several large equity raises. I raised $25 million for a project earlier today. So this project's well within our wheelhouse from a debt and equity perspective. So that's me, and I'll turn it over to Jimmy.
Hey everyone, my name's Jim DeGangi, DeGangi Plumbing Company. I work here, or I actually live here with my family in Cary, so I have a little more invested in the area and want to see this project go well. I'm working both with VDR in Charles Hall and GP with Charles Hall. We've been in business for over 130 years, do design, plumbing, and manufacturing. Locally, we're doing around 600 units right here in Crystal Lake on Water's Edge and Redwood projects currently, and do around 1,000, 2,000 units typically a year through and license around 17 states. I'd like to introduce Kevin McKaylee, President of Charles Hall, and pretty much spearheaded this project.
Thanks, Jim. I've introduced myself before to the village staff. I have been working on this project, when I went through my notes, Brian, March of 2023. So I've been vested into the Maplewood project, and I'm very excited that the village was able to, take control of this project. Again, I'm a principal at Sterling Hall. That is a development entity. I'm the president and COO of Charles Hall Construction, which is a fully integrated general contracting company. So we own, develop, and general contract and operate multifamily, senior housing, affordable housing, student housing. Within the last 10 years, I've oversaw the development and construction of about 3,500 multifamily units, about $750 million worth of ground-up new construction. My development team recently completed the market rate apartment community in Mundelein. I think some of you are familiar with that. Morris Station, it's 139 units. It was around a total of $36 million. Happy to say that it is 98% occupied and 100% leased. So again, we're very familiar with the location of the site, the Maplewood School site, so I'm going to jump right into our proposed concept site plan. We are looking at a total of 284 units. It is 2 different product types. We are looking at a 2-story product and a 4-story product. If we look at, we have to accommodate for that detention. So we ended up using a 1-to-1 ratio. So we have 0.35 acre feet of detention that we're going to have to be providing in this off-site detention basin. We also accounted for that 0.6 additional acreage that is going to be dedicated from the Metra, that is 0.29 acre feet. And then the on-site, which is 15.67 acres, will have 7.86 acre feet. So the whole entire detention for the whole entire site is 8.501 acre feet. And that big blue detention basin in the middle, that's about 2.34 acres. All right, so 2 things. Number 1, we obviously are using the more recent rainfall data. It's Bulletin 76. It's 14% more detention requirement than the old Bulletin 70. And then also the existing detention basin, if you read the report, has an outfall that goes to a existing ditch. So that elevation is not deep. There's only 2 feet of stack in that existing basin. So you cannot get a lot of storage. You have to make it up in surface. The proposed detention basin, which we separated, we're able to get another foot of stack, so that's 3 feet. But there isn't any gravity sanitary sewer that these basins discharge into. The existing one is being required to have a lot of improvements. The outfall is not sufficient, and then we also have to further investigate the ultimate discharge in that culvert that goes underneath the existing railroad. So if we can somehow correct some of the off-site issues, I'd like to look at possibly condensing or making that detention basin smaller and maybe obviously adding more open space. We're not looking at adding more units, but right now this is designed as the worst case, and I think that ultimately there's going to be a lot of detention that's going to be required, not only for off-site, which is going to account for the access road being built, but the on-site development. The park area. So this was a feedback that we ended up getting from Brian. We did propose a park. Right now it's 0.3 acres. We're locating that in the southwest corner because Brian indicated that we may look at dedicating this to the village. We certainly can look at doing that. We are 100% open to options on how to use this proposed park. We can do playground equipment, we can do sitting areas, we can do gazebos, we can end up doing recreational areas. We do have other areas within the development for dedicated dog parks, but if the village wants a dog park, you know, for the community, we can look at doing that too. But this is about 0.3 acres right now. The clubhouse, it's going to be an existing build, or it's going to be a proposed separate building. It's not going to be integrated into any of our proposed buildings. Right now, we're looking at about a 5,000 to 6,000 square foot clubhouse. We do have the ability to increase that overall square footage. Again, I'm sure you heard from a lot of other presenters, you know, the amenity packages that are in these clubhouses. I mean, I've built probably 7 in the area that we can all tour, but these will have club rooms, they'll have bars, they'll have the leasing office, the pool table, the double-sided fireplace, a computer or business center, the dog wash, the bike room, the bike storage package, yoga. I mean, it's going to be top of the line. And again, you can kind of see if you look at this particular picture too, which I'll get into the swimming pool, there is an area to the north that would be more than adequate for the dedicated dog park. Again, the community area, it's going to have all the top of the line amenities. We're going to have the swimming pool. We're going to have the gazebos, the sitting areas, the exterior fire pit, the outdoor grills, the kitchens, the dedicated dog park. And again, all the pictures that I'm showing today are projects that, you know, I have constructed, I have built, and we can easily tour if anybody wants to. A little bit now about the 2-story product. Again, I'm going to keep it high level on some of the elevations. The 2-story product, we really wanted to focus on a fiber cement option. When we get into the 4-story, we would like to introduce, you know, some masonry, some stone to break up some of the monotony of the building. But on the 2-story product, we're looking at 2 different color schemes, so we'll alternate on the buildings. We look at the James Hardie fiber cement, the lap siding, the shake, the board and batten, the aluminum reveal. Again, we'll integrate some black vinyl windows, architectural shingles, metal roof accents, aluminum, black gutters and downspouts, you know, composite decking. So again, I indicated the 2-story product. We have an 8-unit, a 10-unit, and a 14-unit. This is the 8-unit right now. There's 4 units on the ground floor, 8 garages, and on the top floor there's 4 units. I gave you a front elevation and a rear elevation. All of these are direct unit entry. Each unit on this particular concept has their own garage. This is the 10-unit building. The 10-unit building on the first floor has 4 garages and 4 units. On the top floor, it's got 6 units. So what we ended up doing was integrating that smaller 528 to 533 square foot unit. I can talk a little bit more about rents and demand of that, you know, smaller unit. Again, a different architectural elevation on the front and on the rear. This is a new project. This is a new product type for us. So we are actually building 10 of these in Fox Lake starting in the spring. So what I ended up doing, we took the niceties of the 8-unit, the niceties of the 10-unit, we integrated it into a 14-unit. So the 14-unit has 8 garages. It has 6 units on the first floor. On the second floor, it has 8 units, and you'll clearly see that the center portion of that 14-unit building has the 4 smaller 530 square foot units, which, you know, we have a waiting list right now in our development out in Mundelein. And again, we are going to have several different color schemes. This is what we're working with right now. The 14-unit, I refer to this one more as the darker brown tones. I kind of kept the left half separated from the right. The building will not have 2 different color schemes. I did this for comparison. Each building will have its own color. This one on the left is accented by the rich espresso new fiber cement color and then the aged pewter. So these are kind of the darker brown colors. And then the next slide on the 14-unit, we call this the darker grays. This is night gray on the left and iron gray on the on the right. And then just as, you know, a couple pictures that we ended up pulling from a project. That right there is the 8-unit. That's one of the 10 units in Morris Station. Again, I'm going to go through briefly on some of the interior project description. Again, the 8, 10, and 14, all direct unit entry, private garages, contemporary floor plans, 9-foot ceilings, stainless steel appliances, quartz countertop, LVT throughout, 42-inch upper cabinets, the in-unit washer and dryer. We individual meter all of our units, so our tenant pays their own gas, they pay their own water, they pay their own electric bill. Garbage disposal, walk-in closets, ice maker, stoves, again, pet friendly. So in essence of time, I'm gonna quickly kind of go through some of these slides. Again, these are actual pictures that I ended up indicating from Morris Station and Mundelein. I encourage you to go online. You can end up seeing exactly what these pictures are, but that's the 528 unit, 1-bedroom. It's not a studio, it's a true 1-bedroom. Again, the 546 unit, this one's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath plus. And again, we do 2 different color schemes. There's so many units. We break up the monotony by changing some of the cabinet colors. We change some of the flooring. We can change some of the countertops. So again, our future tenant will have various options in terms of unit finishes. This one here has a balcony with Trex decking. Again, there's a couple pictures. This is a unit that actually has a garage that you can walk in right to the unit. So I gave you some of these pictures that I'll go ahead and kind of slide through. And then I'll focus on the 4-story building. So the 4-story building, right now, this one shows a 3-story elevation. But the 4-story, you're just adding another floor. Okay, so this is a project that I built in 2 different municipalities locally. The 4-story product was more contemporary with a flat roof, so I didn't really want to illustrate that. Again, this is going to have a pitched roof. It's going to be elevator served. It's going to have asphalt shingles. Every unit here is going to have a balcony. Again, we'll break up some of the monotony by introducing, you know, a brick or stone that kind of mimics the 2-story product, but it is a 4-story product. The only difference is this one has 10 garages. This is the footprint of the 4-story product, and it has 13 garages you can kind of see across the front. So again, the first floor has 6 units, 13 interior garages. The second, third, and fourth floor all stack, 12 units each, 42 units per building, and again, 979 is the average square feet. Talk a little bit about rents. As we all know, this is a market rate, not affordable. This is the 2-story product. These are the rents that we're kind of projecting right now. Again, I think we can even push rents. We all talked about, I think, schedule. I think our schedule is pretty consistent in terms of breaking ground. You know, we are looking at securing our loan and breaking ground in 2026. These rents are based upon 2024 rents. So there probably is going to be a little inflation, but in order to be conservative in our financial performance, you know, the average per square foot rent for the 2-story is $2.20. The average unit size is $928, so you're looking at about $2,000. And you can kind of see the mixture if it has a garage and if it doesn't have a garage and where everything kind of falls in on the 2-story product. On the 4-story product, again, rents are a little bit higher on average because, this is an elevator-served building, and the unit sizes are a little bit bigger as well. So again, you're still around that $2,000 per unit price, and you can kind of see the 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms and the unit sizes for the 42-unit building. Again, a little bit about demographics. Again, this is coming directly from what we're doing locally in Mundelein. I think we're going to have the same type of tenant that is going to be in Cary. And just to kind of briefly go over this, you know, over 50% of our residents are going to be between the ages of 25 and 31. Most, if not all, are going to be young couples looking to save money. Some are going to be married, some are not going to be married. Again, the hottest units in our development right now is that small 1-bedroom, the 530 square foot. It's leased by a single tenant. And then the 2-bedroom, 1-bath, which I offer, also is leased by usually one couple. They're looking for affordability, and then they turn that extra bedroom into an office. Only about 15% of these renters are going to be empty nesters. That's going to be the age of 60 plus and older. These people are going to be selling their homes for the first time, want maintenance-free living while still being close to home. Late 30s and early 50s, you're going to have very little renters. There are only going to be a handful of them. Biggest occupation is by far going to be nurses and teachers. And again, talking mostly about where these tenants are coming from. Ironically, most of them are going to be within a 5 to 10 mile radius of Cary. and school-age children. We expect very few preschool and elementary school-age children, and even less middle-age and high school students. So again, I left you kind of with a little bit of some demographics. You can kind of see just on a bar chart, you know, on the age of people leasing in our development. This is tenant employment, where most of the employees are coming from. And again, this is tenants with pets, and then also tenant income. You can clearly see that market rents dictate, obviously, people with a little bit more salary. And I mean, you know, 75, 80% of our tenants are over 60,000, you know, annually in income. So, any questions?
Let's start out. Let's continue with some Trustee Weinhammer. Okay.
I don't really have any either right now. Thank you,
All
though.
questioned out, right?
No, but
So-
you know, I mean, I think you did a great job with, you know, kind of addressing us as we go through these different presentations. We're now getting more apt to what we want to know about, and you guys are presenting it. So I think we're becoming a little bit more acclimated to the presentations.
You're probably hearing a lot of the same thing. So, I mean, it's really dictated on, you know, product type and
Right.
what you're looking for.
I want to thank you for bringing the stormwater detention and the different variations of the Maplewood Access Road to the conversation, because they're both going to be critical to the success of whichever developer we choose. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my sister works at RWG Engineering. She's my engineer of record. We're a family of engineers, and I think we love talking about stormwater detention. So,
Who doesn't?
I know.
You got nothing, Dale? Nothing, okay.
I have the same questions for everybody, but you're going to get one extra because I may have missed it at the beginning. Does your company typically build and hold your projects?
So in this particular project, I'm going to be the general contractor. I do a lot of development. My business partners with Alessio, they are long-term holders. They do have an operating company where they hold and manage assets long-term. We have a senior living operating company where, again, we hold long-term. But on this particular project, we are looking at holding and managing this project ourselves.
Okay, thank you for that. So then here's the three standard questions. The village, in our comprehensive plan, sort of views Maplewood as a neighborhood within a neighborhood. So we anticipate, and we have gotten to date, a lot of input from the folks that live in that area. How open are you to listening to the community when they talk about things like density, like height, like open space, to make alterations to your plan?
We're open. I mean, we'll even, you know, hold a community hall, a town meeting. If we're selected as the developer of record, I have no problem holding open shop and forums, you know, within the village hall and welcoming, you know, public feedback. I tried to do our best when we designed the plan about being cognizant of two-story product existing adjacent to existing single family, and you know, the four-story product is more traditional with, you know, the pitched roofs as opposed to, you know, more modern contemporary with, you know, flat TPO roof.
Okay. Next question is, there's a possibility that on the east side where the project's all abut the Metra parking lot, that some property over there could come available for sort of a soft transition between your site or the Maplewood site and our core business district downtown. So just questioning how open you would be to perhaps looking at a Plan 1A to try to figure out if you had X amount of additional space right in that corner, how could you create a transition that would sort of soften the movement from Maplewood into downtown?
We would welcome that opportunity. I mean, I know we spent a lot of time, you know, I've worked on this site plan since 2023. This is not the first iteration. This was one of the best iterations that I thought we had, but we're certainly open to multiple ideas and concepts from the village. Okay. Again, I mean, the two-story product, I mean, there's an 8, 10, 14-unit concept. A lot of this is interchangeable. Mixing and matching with the density. The three-story product you saw, we also have four-story product. I mean, we can easily work within our portfolio to look at expanding, you know, a little bit further towards the east and making a very, you know, comprehensive plan if that additional land became available.
Okay. And then the last question is, several weeks ago, the board had a presentation for residential development out on Route 31. Just curious if you guys have had the opportunity to view that presentation.
Was that the one that south of Walmart?
Yes.
I read about it in the paper. I did not find the proposal that was pitched to the village. I do understand it was probably a 2- and 3-story walk-up, very similar to what I think the Springs was for Continental, very similar to what I think Redwood is doing down the street. So I obviously know that product very, very well. I would not compare this site to that site on Route 31. I talked about this with my business partner, specifically Jim. This is more the transit-oriented development. It's more walkability to downtown. It's walkability, obviously, to the train station. This is in my opinion, much more prime piece of property and more conducive for what, I'm proposing.
Okay, I would agree. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. A couple things for me. Referring back to our comprehensive plan, we spent a lot of time and effort with the community and things around the perimeter that's adjacent to the existing properties there. Did you give any thought about the owner-occupied townhouses just along the perimeter along Krentz and School?
Owner-occupied? No, I have not. I mean, right now we're proposing all 284 units as market rate apartments. I have done a lot of owner-occupied townhomes. It changes the financial, pro forma. We certainly can look into it, but I mean, I have not given that any consideration at this time.
Okay. And then you addressed part of the parking, but one of the things that we've had some conversations with other smaller developers bringing up the fact that our region is in need of studio apartments. What are your thoughts on that?
I love studio apartments. Again, I think we cover that gap when we offer our 528 and 530 square foot apartment. It's small enough, but it is a true 1-bedroom. And again, I encourage everyone, if they want to tour, our Morris Station site in Mundelein, I think that covers it in terms of bridging that gap and supporting it. That's our longest wait list right now, is those smaller units.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Final thoughts? Ryan, anything else?
That's it from our standpoint. So I think if there's no more feedback from the board, we're certainly open it to the public for comment as well. But then the developers are free to stay or free to go at this point as well.
Okay, thanks.
Brian, were you going to have any comments, I know, from the public that we need to stick around and answer? I'd be more than happy to do that.
Yeah, I think it's more at this point, because the other developers have left, I won't have specific questions for each developer, but if there's certainly opportunity for public comment, the public will be able to participate at this point. But if the development team is free to go from that standpoint, any follow-up questions that we may have, we'll certainly reach out to you.
All right.
You're free to stay if you'd like.
Again, I've been looking to come into Cary, obviously, for quite some time.
You've tried, yes.
I tried on the industrial site. Parkway Bank was not very friendly with me, but I mean, again, it's a blessing in disguise, because this is the site that I originally was talking to Brian about, and then it fell off the table and then came back on. So best thing comes to those who wait, I guess. So.
Yep. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your team.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. All right, now, as promised, we'll entertain some comments from the public. Since I have one person sign in, Randy Scott, did you want to address any concerns or comments that you have about the Maplewood project?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is exciting. A lot of new stuff coming to Cary. I'm excited. I get it. Revenue. I want to see revenue go to fire. I want to see revenue go to police, get them better equipment so they can all go home safe. Park District, school. You travel the country, you see stack 'em, pack 'em. 15-minute cities coming in. I think we can do better. I think I'd like to see. I grew up watching Hey Arnold. You know the cartoon? He had a studio apartment in the city. My wife and I moved to the Tyvek Tower briefly, which is the Renew in Algonquin. Then we went to the Springs. I quickly realized after being at the Springs that these buildings are cost optimized. The people above us were just living their daily life, and we could hear their activities. We thankfully found our place in Cary. A lot of these presentations you hear renter by choice, and they choose their words. I'm not a renter by choice. I'd love to own like a home. I think a lot of younger people, no matter any age, want to own the home. That vacation feel of these apartments quickly turns into fatigue, I found. You feel like a number, and I think we can do better. I'd like to see starter homes. I'd like to see us be that community to where we get younger families, people of all ages, some equity. I think keeping up with the Joneses, Crystal Lake, you see a flood, see all this inventory coming in. The economy's gonna get better. So I'd like to skate to where the puck's going. My litmus test with the Springs apartment when I lived there, I looked at the pad of which they put their air conditioning unit on. And it was made out of gravel with a plastic top. That told me that that developer was not planning to stay around for a while to manage, because that's all gonna become an issue eventually. I don't wanna see Cary turned into a 15-minute city. Being a business owner, you would think, wow, 1,000 apartments, that's gonna be good for business. I see people, not spreadsheets. We all want the best for Cary. I just say, listen to the voices. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing? So
Yes.
back during my first term, when we had presenters come in, or developers come in, I kept saying the same thing as you, single family, single family, single family. But nobody can none of the developers can afford to put single family here as bad as we want it. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that it's not feasible to do at this property.
This goes for more than just this property.
I thought you were talking about this property, so I
Yeah,
was just
no,
addressing
it's
that
just the
one.
overall, like, we have 1,000+ apartments potentially coming into Cary. I quickly found out why why my parents moved me here from the city. So we didn't have a referendum on a lot of things. There's a referendum coming up. It's unfortunate that I already know that VDR is the preferred contractor. And it's disheartening that I know that just by everything that I know. And I just want the best for Cary.
Wait,
Well, first of all,
hang on a
there is
second.
no preferred developer here. We have not even had these are all completely different. We have absolutely no preferred developer.
And where did you hear that?
Yeah, hearsay. Sir, I appreciate your feedback and things, but we're going to limit the scope to Maplewood because that's what we're talking about. As Trustee Weinhammer pointed out, we've gone through this whole thing before about bringing single family. It would be great, but we live in a time of passion for people wanting rental apartments. They want transit-oriented developments. You're going to hear this time and time again. I deal with it at the state level and the federal level. This is what they're focusing on. We have a huge shortage in McHenry County of market rate apartments. That's why you're seeing these go up. And each one of these developers has done their own in-house study, and they had contractors doing the studies that say that there is a need for this. We wouldn't be even thinking about this if we didn't think that there was too much market saturation, because we've all asked that same question. So, we're doing the best that we can with what we have.
I understand that, sir. I see a lot of inventory, and I can see the economy getting better. The rents will come down, like $3,000 a month. Once the supply goes up and the demand goes down, the rents will come down, pride in ownership will go down, and you're gonna have some issues.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to comment on the Maplewood project? Please? No? What are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts? Anybody? come on up and state your name and address. And you know, we would like to, excuse me, Mr. Tooman, we would like to have a professional discussion about this. We're here for you. We're going through all of these different scenarios so that you can be educated like we are. We're being very transparent. You've seen exactly what we've seen. I understand that you have some other concerns about that, but I'm giving you an opportunity. If you would like to professionally address the village board, please come forward, like I've invited you, and state your name and address and state your comments. That's what we're here for. That's why we're doing this. So please, I would prefer you coming up rather than yelling from the back of the room. Then we're here. We let you talk whenever you like. We just like to have a little professional decorum here.
219 South Wolf.
Okay.
I listened to all these proposals. I know they want apartments. Couldn't you see building a town? You keep talking about a downtown. There is no downtown. It's like 5 gaming stores. That's all that's downtown with little, I mean, the Tracks and the Kachina have something, but the other places, I mean, why does the village consistently give way to gaming facilities? I just don't understand it. It's just, I boycott them. My daughter was here from Indonesia over the summer. She wanted to go to Kojak's. I said, I'm not going there. I'm not going to any gaming establishments, especially when all the games are sitting right when you walk in the door. It's horrible. They should be offset in a room where no one can see the crap.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's a conversation for another day. I'm anxious to hear what you have to think about what these developers had to say. What are your initial thoughts? That's what we would like to hear. Please.
I'm with him about more single ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You can see Crystal Lake is getting saturated, and they want to build more. Apartments, apartments, apartments. It's just, it don't make, and you want to build more out on 31. Where are they going to go? We're not getting any of the revenue from that, just from tax dollars. We're not going to get any revenue from our grocery stores. They're going to go to Walmart. Our grocery store here right now is too small for this town. I just don't get, Maplewood should be considered a business district. We have no business district with apartments above it. I've been to Glenview. I take my kid to Glenview to the train. They have a beautiful business district with town all above it, with apartments above it, stores. I was looking for a store to go for Christmas, buy local. We have none. We have nothing.
Yeah, I understand.
So we go to Crystal Lake, go downtown. We have to go spend our money in Crystal Lake, unless you want to buy gaming tokens for your family, which I refuse.
Well, I understand your concerns, but there are things that are going to be happening in our downtown district that will emulate exactly what you're talking about. We have business owners, may I finish?
Yeah.
Business owners want to reinvest in our downtown district. You may think that we don't have one, but I believe this board would stand behind me and say we have a very much a thriving downtown district. We've got many businesses that want to come down here, but we don't have the space for them right now. And hold on, we are working on it, and you can confirm this with my community development director. We have meetings all the time with people trying to come here and how we can best utilize our downtown footprint. We are not going to be a Crystal Lake. We're not going to be an Algonquin. We're not going to be a Palatine or Arlington. We're not. We are going to remain Cary. We want to do what's best for us. Remain the charm. I understand your frustration with gaming. I get it. I hear this all the time. But that's
it.
But pardon me?
You keep approving these places.
I understand that, but that's part of the performance of these restaurants. One of the things that I'm going to admit to you, and I've mentioned this to the board before, when I first became mayor, I really wanted to try to bring in more retail businesses into the downtown. No one wants, because we're never known for that because of the footprint. What we've become and what I've embraced and the board has embraced is that we've become a restaurant destination. People come here for our food. They come here for the experience. We've spent a lot of money through grants, I might add you, to beautify the downtown. We're looking at ways that we can continue to do this. What gets some of these developers excited is because we are continuously doing public improvement in our downtown district. The best is yet to come. We have a lot of things going on. It just takes time. You just can't flip a switch as much as, I'm right there with you. I would love to flip a switch and get some of these things done, but you have to embrace the community that we are and see what we're going. One of the first questions that we ask these developers, why can't we do condos? Well, because in 2008, they changed the financing of condos. You can't finance condos anymore unless you have them 30% sold. So that's the song and dance that we hear. So what we're looking to is to bring something that we don't have in the downtown. We don't have luxury market rate apartments in the Village of Cary. None. That is one of the biggest asks that I get from our seniors, from our recent college graduates, which is exactly the demographics that each one of these developers we're talking about. We don't have that particular need right now. And so what we're doing with this process is to make sure that Cary remains Cary. We're going to do what's best for Cary, and we are taking our time. I'm sorry. No, that wasn't you, so I take that back. We are going to take our time and make sure that we do it right. And Trustee Dudek and I, we've been on this board for a long time. Trustee McAlpine as well. We're not going to force something down the village's throat. We have one shot to get this right.
The land's gone, it's
Exactly. That's why we want to make sure that we're doing what's best. And for that particular area, you heard one of the developers talk about, the thought of having commercial aspect in that particular development, it's not going to be worth it. No one's going to go there. So what we're going to do is we're looking at how we're going to increase our downtown district to bring in more opportunities. So I hear you. I listen to you, and I listen to the comments that you make. And that's why I'm encouraging people to come forward and let us know what your thoughts are. We can bring those back. And if we do choose one of these developers, we could all agree and say, oh, no, we don't like any of these. Let's start all over. We have that right to do this.
Okay.
So
This last developer have you been through Mundelein? Is he part of the Mundelein that I've been through lately?
I have not
It
been to
is
that development.
Jammed with apartments.
Mhm.
Jammed. You can't.
Well, again, we talked about the TODs, and that's where a lot of effectiveness of municipalities and their growth is when you have a TOD, which is a transit-oriented development. New businesses want to come to a community that has a large population. We continue. You look at the radiuses of the Village of Cary. We've gone down in population since the last census that we had. We lost over 400 residents, but that's going to start coming back. But the developments that we're looking at right now aren't bringing thousands of people to the village. So we are going to look at these individual developments and what's going to be best for us as a whole. We're engaging in the community. We encourage people. Our board is waiting to hear what people have to say. And quite frankly, I'm surprised that we didn't have a full room today. We've pushed this out. We've, did posting on social media. We're talking about this. We want to hear what people have to say.
I'm just saying, you've shrunken Main Street. We all live on this side of town.
I know right where you
None of
live.
you guys live on this side of town.
I work on this side.
Yeah, but you have one way out. Once you close Spring Street, Cary Algonquin, I don't know. It's
Well,
a lot
that's
more,
what-
it's a
one of
lot
the-
more people going to downtown on High Road. When
Okay.
that goes through, I'm scared. The speed limit should be 20 down there for one. Someone opens their door, it's so narrow there now, you're gonna take it off. They should put a speed limit sign down there to slow people down to 20.
Okay. Mr. Tuman, I'd like to find out what other comments do you have about a proposed development? The three different proposals that you heard, was there one that stood out to you? Something that you liked? Is there something that you'd like to see different? That's what we'd like to hear. We'd like to hear that.
5 stories for one.
Okay, that's noted. It's noted.
Does the fire department have equipment to go 5 stories? No.
Yes, they do.
They do?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, I understand. We've had conversations with the fire protector. We have a very good working relationship with them. They understand. The chief and Scott are here at every meeting. They hear all these different things that are going on.
The last one was 4 stories, but that's still a lot.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a comment.
Well,
on
if you do, you know where to get hold of me. If you have something that comes up to you and you want to talk about it, give me a call. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you have to say.
I know your economic development guy or whatever he is, the one you brought in from the outside.
Dan.
I think he lives in Glenview. I'm sure he has a...
He does not live in Glenview.
Oh, I thought he did.
No.
But that's part of... I like that area. I thought it was very nice. It was
Yeah.
well done.
Well, stay tuned, buckle up. You'll see some fun things coming into the downtown in the not too distant future.
Okay.
So I know that we were just touching upon like Cary businesses and things like that. We were recently in Florida at Disney, and somebody asked where we were from, and I said Cary. And they said, "Oh, you have Uncle Jerry's Pizza." And I couldn't believe that somebody down in Florida was like, Cary has Uncle Jerry's Pizza. And then back from when I did my student teaching in Libertyville, I had kept in touch with some families there, and I ran into a family at Trax from Libertyville, and they're like, hey, we love to jump in the car and go to places that have really good burgers, and they were going over to the Trax for that. So people do come here
They do. It's a
for our
destination.
amazing amenities. Regardless what you guys may or may not think, we have some amazing businesses
We
here.
do, we do.
So
And
just
you
wanted
know,
to say
what's
that.
great about the businesses in the downtown is none of them are direct competition. They all complement each other. They all, work. There's no burger to burger place, or there's no pizza to pizza place. Everybody offers something else, which is nice, and they like that. They work very well together down there. So we're aware of this. We're striving for this. This is something that's very important to our board. So I'd like to hear from somebody else. Did you just state your name and address for the phone, or for the record?
Hi, John Rohrbach, Cherry Street. Just a couple things. Do you want to talk? Okay. Thanks. We're adding a lot of new residents to the area, a lot of parking spots. As more vehicles become EVs on the road, I encourage you for all your developments to look at how many chargers they're offering in those spots. If you haven't educated yourself, there's a difference in chargers. There's level 1 charging, which for a normal EV will take about 65 hours to charge from 20%. Level 2 charger will take about 8 hours. Level 3 charger, most of the cars these days, anywhere from 18 minutes to 24 minutes. A developer that's saying they're putting in 2 to 4 level 2 chargers are only taking care of 4 residents. They're not taking care of the vast number of EV owners that we will have in the future living in Cary. So when they're doing townhomes with private garages, are they putting in 240-volt plugs into those garages so that they can charge vehicles? Those are questions that I want to make sure a village we're asking these questions as we move forward.
It's been noted.
Okay. Most apartment companies, when you go to rent, they look at your ratio of how much you make per month after taxes versus what their rent is. And they do that calculation. It's usually anywhere between 30 and 40. Somewhere unethical, push it to 50, which makes it really hard for those people living there. At an average rent of $2,000, which came across all these proposals, what is the income needed? What's the salary for that house? Have you done that calculation? It's over $72,000. I don't think we're paying our teachers or nurses starting out at those wages. I think we need to do the math that we're talking about the residents. Since you're bringing in new residents, you need to look at this from the resident side. Who are we actually bringing into these locations? Yeah, they might rent, but who are you bringing in? Okay?
Well, thank you very much.
Just real quick, it's based on gross, it's not net. When you calculate, when you
Everything
qualify.
online says after taxes.
Well, when you qualify for a mortgage or for anything else, it's on your gross.
I understand, but
Okay.
when apartment companies do the calculation, they look at it after taxes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment?
Hello, Martha Ritter, Frankie Subdivision.
Can you drop the microphone down, please? Thank you.
Martha Ritter, Frankie Subdivision. I would just like to ask, can I ask for 12-foot trees instead of 10-foot trees around the moat? Or can I have a moat? I've been asking for them to do a study on the forest back there for 3 months, and I'm still waiting to have any information at all. They haven't even looked into it, nothing. There's eagles back there, there's foxes, and they're just gonna plow them all under. How nice. And that retention pond, thank you for flooding my house once again. It already got flooded once. And there's my builder back there. He spent $10,000 to fix it because of flooding. Now you're gonna flood it again. Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
My name is Michael Mills, and I'm also a resident of Cary. I wasn't planning on coming up, but out of the proposals I heard, there's one that seems a little better to me than others. My concern is, as you're all saying, about building the business in Cary. Well, we all know Cary has a limited amount of space. Forget this entirely. So I don't know where the new businesses are going to be coming in to draw more people. The term I heard with most or all of these is transient. And just by definition, that means those people aren't going to stick around and contribute to the tax base of Cary.
It's transit. It's because the transit is because it's located near the train depot.
Okay.
That's what all the municipalities that are fortunate enough to have a depot, they're pushing more and more transit oriented, so people will utilize the transit system, like get on the train, take a bus, to get where they need to go.
I misspoke. I misunderstood. You're still talking about basically all three of these developments, with maybe the exception of one in my mind, that are rentals. People who rent don't generally build up enough income to turn around and live in a city. So they're going to come in and they're going to come out. This is a problem in any city that you live in. Crystal Lake is huge. They've got the land. But you're also going to saturate a market, and you're going to use up the space here. And instead of maybe developing something that could be long-term residents, you're going to be providing space for people who aren't going to stick around. I made a few notes here, and I really don't want to talk any more than I have to.
Why not? Let us hear what you have to say.
Well, I'd like a show of hands of everybody in the room. Excuse me.
Why don't you talk? Let us know what you want to hear. We want to hear what you want to talk about.
How many people live in the immediate area of this proposed development?
We all live in the community.
No. School Street, Arthur, Alita, how many people live on those immediate streets? I want a show of hands if that's not asking too much. I don't think that's asking too much.
You've made your point.
My point is, it's not going to impact anybody who lives anybody else. It's only going to impact the people who live in these immediate areas. And even when you take away the people from the immediate areas, the amount of people possibly living in these areas have still got to get in and out of Cary. And unless you don't live off of Main Street or you live somewhere else, 31 Cary-Algonquin Road, you're creating a traffic nightmare, a congestion problem.
Which is why we are considering a Maplewood access road to go along the far side of the
along the
property.
railroad tracks. Right. And how does that impact the fire department when that's the necessary system needed for the entire town?
That wouldn't. I mean, I think the fire department is a huge proponent of adding another access point to the downtown.
Okay. Well, all they have to do is go under the bridge or down Main Street. I mean, if you're talking about them going along a road along the railroad tracks, they still got to somehow weave their way through Prairie back to Main Street. That just doesn't make sense. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, not a bunch of turns.
Well, we'll be happy. Eric was making a notation. We can bring that up again with the Fire Protection District.
Any of these proposals, you're going to have families. You're going to have people with children. Where are they going to go to school? You're tearing down the school. I understand the school probably needed to be torn down or renovated years ago. But where are they going to go to school? You're just creating another situation that's going to have to be dealt with down the road. The prices of these, $2,000, well, depends on what you do, as the one gentleman pointed out, how much money you need to make or whatever the case may be. If I could put down $2,000 for an apartment, I might be able to try to find a single-family home. I understand from everybody and the people here, and I've been here before, most developers don't want to develop it as single-family homes because it's not cost-effective for them. Well, you would get long-term people living in these houses or townhouses. Condos, I didn't understand that until you explained it. I didn't know that at all. But if you could make this into an area of long-term residencies, you would get people who would be investing in the city simply by staying there and living there, generation after generation after generation, using the businesses, expanding the whole city. These are rentals. I don't care what you want to call it, transient. It doesn't make any difference. It's a relative term to people who want to come in, maybe save up, maybe move to Cary, or live somewhere else. Or, as the one gentleman was saying, you move into a place and you find out it's, excuse my language, crap. So you find somewhere better to go. Crystal Lake's going to have a lot more choices than this. I just think this needs to be thought out a lot more than really has done, because you're not only taking away one of the few spaces in town for the children, you're talking about turning it into a place that's going to affect the whole area. Not in a good way. I lived there. That's why I'm talking about that. 46 years I've lived here. You and I talked about it personally, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
It doesn't affect, no, excuse me.
No.
It doesn't affect 95% of the people in this room, but you're willing to make the decisions that affect us. That's bullying.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Just come up and state your name and address.
Dave Reeky, Lida Drive. I like the last presenter. I like the 2-story options, and I like the 3-story, not the 4.
Okay.
And I definitely don't like the 5s.
Okay.
I just think there's too much for that area.
Right.
Too much traffic, too many people.
Was there any particularly, I mean, did you like any of the architectural styles or any?
I like the 2-story on the last one.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think if you could fill the whole place with that, that'd be wonderful.
Okay.
But if you could go 3-story on the apartments instead of 4, it'd be great.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else?
Good evening, Dave Miller. I like the idea, like you said, of having condos, not being ownership in some of them, townhouses or whatever to it, and the underground parking. And I think they all got good ideas to it, and I think you're doing the best you can do. I don't think anything was cut and dried that looked like it was running home with either one of them, but I think a combination of them might make a great deal.
I
Keep up the
agree.
good
Thank
work.
you. That's why we're here, trying to figure this out for you. All right, last chance. Anybody else? Chris? It wouldn't be a meeting without you.
Chris Reeky, 446 Lloyd Street. The one gentleman mentioned something about, okay, whatever you decide to build, that's up to you. But something about riding the bike to the train station. Is there going to be enough bikes? If 20 people ride their bikes, is there going to be enough room downtown to park their bikes?
There is bike parking. We have plenty of parking down there right now, but when we do the new community plaza that's going to be starting this next year, there is a bike rack element to it, and it's the bike station to repair your bikes. That's all coming. So absolutely, there will be opportunities for that. And some of those actually show that they have bike rooms, I noticed, in some of the buildings that you can store bikes inside one of the buildings.
Okay, and I don't remember which one it was, but two out of the 3 different developers showed some kind of park on the corner. What he mentioned that it can be a dog park or this or that. You put a park or something there, you know, the kids, when Maplewood was there was actually a physical park with equipment, play equipment. Is that something that, whatever you decide to build there, is that what you're gonna put there for the neighborhood, the kids that are in the neighborhood there?
I would say yes. The corner of Krenz and School, that's where we've identified that we'd like to see a community park. So any development, and I've committed to this publicly and in meetings, that there will be a park element there. There will be adequate stormwater detention. There will be underground or first floor parking. There is going to be a road out the back way to ease up any congestion. But if you look at the density, the numbers have come down substantially from when the last developer that we had, they were well over 300 units. You didn't see any of that today. So we're looking to drive the number of units down so it'd be easier for us to navigate, especially with the access road coming out the back of it. I don't think that we're going to have an issue with that. But to your point, yes, there will absolutely be a park part of this process on that corner.
And now those, I think there's about 6 houses that back up to the commuter lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those people don't have any really say-so into what's gonna happen here, what they're gonna have to look at in their backyard?
Actually, we, in one of the site visits with Director Administrator Morimoto and Director Simmons, one of the residents came over there. And what was the first thing they asked for? Make sure you have a park here. That's all he cared about. And we said, yeah, we're going to do a park. He said he was fine with whatever we decided to do over there. And he backs up to that property over there.
Okay. And once
So
again-
that's why we need to hear what people want and so we can, implement these into these different developments. Yeah, there's some things in each one of these things that I like, and there's some I don't like on some of them too. And I think the rest of the board would agree with that. So one of the benefits of doing this and controlling this process, that we can say, look, this is what the board wants. This is what we've heard from the community. This is what we've heard from the neighborhood. We need to implement these types of things into this development.
In my personal opinion, anything over three stories is too much for Cary.
Okay. Thank you for your feedback.
Like Crystal Lake, you see everything that Crystal Lake is doing, they're 3 stories and taller. And I think it'd be my personal opinion with the houses and stuff in town, you start putting stuff over 3 stories high, and it's gonna make Cary's reputation look pretty bad. Like that development out on 31, how they're 2 stories, that looks all nice. Well, I mean, but the traffic, I mean, look where the traffic's going. It doesn't affect any of you up there where the traffic goes. So, I mean, are you really taking into consideration the residents of Cary?
I believe we are. That's why we're doing this process.
I mean, I know it's not the Maplewood project, but that one on 31, all that traffic's coming down that one road that's leaving there, coming towards Georgetown.
No, I believe that there's going to be an access point at Route 31.
Well, if they come to Cary. But like I said, Maplewood, anything over 3 stories is too much.
Okay. Thank you for your feedback. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go ahead and close open forum or public comment at 8:35. Moving on with the rest of the agenda, administrator's report. We are having technical issues tonight.
It's the technical gremlins today, so apologize and appreciate everybody's patience with that. It doesn't appear to be a user error. We just have some glitches today. But that being said, just reminders repeating from the last meeting, the annual Christmas tree recycling and pickup is underway this month by Flood Brothers. So the dates go through towards the end of January on your regular pickup days. As well, the same with the holiday lights recycling. The collection bins are here at the Municipal Center and both Cary Fire Protection District Stations 1 and 2. So thank you to Cary Fire Protection for helping us with that program as well. And then lastly, another reminder, we have the Budget Priority Survey online available for residents to give us their thoughts on the infrastructure and needs that they feel are important for us to assist in the planning for our FY 25-26 budget and capital improvement plan. And also we invite the public to attend that first budget workshop, which is Tuesday, February 11th at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom.
I think as of yesterday, we only had 148 respondents, so how many people in the room went to the website or took part in the survey? Okay.
It's really easy.
It's really easy.
Posted it multiple
Got your
times.
camera right now, Martha? Take a picture of that QR code. Go right to it. We don't mess around. We make it
February
easy.
11th.
Chat 30 times.
Anything else?
That's all for me.
Thank you. Department heads, Chief Finland.
Just to let the board know that we've implemented our body-worn cameras. All of our sworn personnel now are wearing body-worn cameras, myself included. So you'll see that we've implemented that, and we're navigating that system right now.
Thank you, Chief. Director Noonan?
No report.
You were so quiet tonight. Wow. Director Simmons, anything else?
I have no update, but just want to thank the public that is here for their time this evening for participating in the process. I know it's a long meeting, but also for the board as well for the feedback as granted this evening as well.
That was how my closing remarks are going to be there too. It's important that we have conversations. You know, we understand that there are some concerns, and we want to hear that. You know, there are possibilities and there are things that we can do to rectify it. So unless we know about them, we can't address them. So we will continue to encourage people to come to these meetings and find out. Happy to make myself available to anybody that has questions outside of this, or I believe me, I have a lot of people asking me, I don't feel comfortable speaking at a public meeting. Well, I meet with them privately. Staff will meet with them and get their questions answered. We want to make sure that everybody's heard. So this is just the beginning of a process. We're at a 50,000 foot view right now. We're going to start coming down a little bit further, but we are very thankful that you've taken the time out to be with us tonight. So thank you again. Any future agenda items by the village board? Nothing. I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session to settle, to discuss real estate selling price for sale, lease of property, village property, 5 Illinois CS 102-120/2C6. And we will be publicly adjourning from that session. So there was no action after this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.